Good evening. It is Wednesday, January 27th, 2021, and coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in snow-covered Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I am your host, David Lamm, and with me, as always, is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
What's going on, everybody?
We are live streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook, the Best Lamm Sports Show. That's where you can find us. Just type that in and you'll find us, I promise. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage, lambsports.com. You can find links to the past shows and the current trivia question on there. As always, the first segment, what do we want to call it? What do we call it?
Something like that.
First part?
First segment.
I don't know. First quarter? Oh, maybe that's what we should go with. Of the show is brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. At 34,000 square feet, The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services, all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 7. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you ask for Chelsea and mention the Best Lamm Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So there's going to be some basketball. We're going to talk about some basketball, some NBA basketball. So that's why I thought I'd show up. You want to play good. You hope you play good.
Right.
The Super Bowl matchup is set. The Blazers, they're treading water at the moment. NHL hockey, full swing. College basketball is happening, but the names that we're used to, or that I'm used to, are not, they're conspicuous by their absence. How about that? Let's call it that. And we're going to talk about all that and some more, but first we're going to cover some trivia because we love a good trivia question. The Best Lamm Sports Show trivia question is presented by Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. So are you ready for the trivia question?
Born ready.
Okay, because this is a good one. I don't know if it's a good one. I throw crap out and sometimes. All right, the trivia question is this. The NBA record for the best start to a season is 24-0 by the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors. My question is, which NBA franchise is the only one to have two different teams start the season at least 11-0? There's only been one franchise in history that's had two teams start at least 11-0. I want to know what that franchise is. That's all you got to do. You got a 1 in 32 chance to get this right or something? 1 in 30,
yeah,
30 chance?
Not bad odds.
No, not at all. If you just guess. So we'll tell you the answer, of course, at the end of the show. You got, 45 minutes or so to think about it, stew on it, figure it out. So first thing we're going to talk about is NFL football. The Super Bowl is all set. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but, what are you going to do? How did you feel about, just real briefly, without touching anything, how did you feel about the outcome?
Of the
conference championship
games?
Yeah.
I kind of predicted that the Chiefs were gonna roll their way on through everybody. So that wasn't all that surprising. I had hoped the Bills would put up a little bit better fight, and then on the other side, I did not see Tom Brady making it back to Super Bowl, and I can't say I'm happy that he did.
I think that's a consensus. I think that's definitely both of us. So what we had was, hold on here. I've got a little problem with my links are not working. So hold on here. We're just gonna hold on to Al Bundy for just a second because
and his 4 touchdowns.
Because that's what we do. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is Tampa Bay Green Bay. Right. And NFC Championship game from Sunday. Buccaneers win it 31-26. First and foremost, the biggest question on my mind is if you're the offensive coordinator for Green Bay and it's 4th and goal from the 8 with 2:10 left in the game, you're trailing by 8, are you going for it?
The answer is yes.
Okay. Everyone says that. How come the only person in the world who didn't know that was Matt LaFleur?
There is a person, and he's the head coach too. He should know better. But there's a person, there's two people, an offensive coordinator and this guy, who are being paid a lot more money than us to do something really dumb. That we all why would you ever take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands? And better yet, why would you put it back into Brady's with a
Right.
chance to kill you off?
Yeah, I
Never,
mean,
never in a million years. Never in a million years. If Matt LaFleur ever does that again, he should never coach in the NFL.
I
It
don't.
should be done.
I think one time is bad enough. I feel like that was an easy decision to make. Your offense had been rolling, and
Yeah,
okay,
they've moved all the way down the field.
and they've scored the last two possessions. They turned Brady threw 3 interceptions on 3 consecutive series for the second time in his career.
Your team was hot.
Your team is hot, right? And allow your quarterback to make a play, right?
Yeah, they did not do that. They stifled Aaron Rodgers.
I want
For whatever reason, he decided to go with the few. And I get it. You have to score. Not only do you have to score the goal, then you have to get the extra points. Like that's a thing.
sure.
And scoring inside of the 5 is really difficult. Extra points or not. And I get that on the previous 3 plays you had gotten 0 yards. So you had 3 plays for nothing.
Okay.
One of them was a dropped pass in the end zone.
Let's
Not anybody's fault, but come on.
yeah, let's talk about those 3 plays for just a minute. First down, incomplete pass. Second down, incomplete pass. Third down, incomplete pass. At what time, at first and goal from the 8, do you not try and run the football?
I would have done it right away. You have Aaron Jones.
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing? And if you don't have Aaron Jones, then you got Williams.
It seemed like no one knew what to do all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Matt LaFleur, you can say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, played a kind of a bum first half,
Yeah.
but Matt LaFleur lost him that game because he didn't let a Hall of Famer be a Hall of Famer. He didn't let him have that moment. There's not another coach in the league that I think would have made that poor of a decision.
Oh, it was bad.
He's a young coach.
I get it, but isn't there a point? Do you feel like there's a point where how old are you?
I'm 32. Something like that.
So if you became the head coach tomorrow,
yeah,
of the Green Bay Packers, at what point in time would you not just say, "Hey, Aaron, what do you want to run?" It's like 4th and goal.
Did you see that Bruce Arians quote about Tom Brady?
I did not.
Before Bruce Arians comes out and says that he thinks there are times that he just kind of sits back and lets Tom Brady call whole drives. Russell Wilson gets to call whole drives.
Right.
Drew Brees gets to call whole drives.
Yep.
Why is Aaron Rodgers not calling whole drives?
That was my.
Why do you not trust this guy who's good at comebacks?
That was my biggest complaint about it, was that at some point in time when it became 1st and goal and your team had a chance to tie the football game, literally you're here and we don't know if you're going to get back to this spot to, you know what I mean? You can't pass up this opportunity to try and tie the football game. It's 1st and goal from the 8. Hey, anybody have any great ideas how we can put this ball in the end zone? Aaron, you're first, because why? You're a Hall of Famer. You're a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Can you please just call a play and let's score a touchdown? I don't care what it is. Right?
Yeah,
that's what I would have done. But I don't know.
I'm not. But I would have ran the ball with Jones on first down, see what you could pick up.
Yeah.
Probably going to grab 2-3 yards. And I get that is a great defensive line and linebacking core. But
sure.
Aaron Jones is phenomenal, so you're probably going to pick up a couple yards at least, and then maybe you go to the air on second down. If you pick up 5 or 6, go to the ground again.
I feel like there was some reason, and I don't know what it was. The Packers ran for 67 yards, 16 rushing attempts the whole game.
Yeah.
But they averaged 4.2 yards a carry. It's not like they weren't successful.
Right.
The 4.2 is good enough if you run it 3 times, you get a first down.
In this case, you run it 3 times, you'll get a touchdown.
Why were there only 16? I know they were behind most of the game. I get that. But at some point in time, at this point in time, you had time on your side.
This all still would have set us up to have our heart broken on a
2-point conversion.
A 2-point conversion, because you know what they would have done is they would have lined up some crazy harebrained formation that either puts 6 tight ends in and a running back, and then you know what's going to happen, or they'd bootleg Rodgers out and have him dump it off to a tight end who drops it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, that was an unfortunate way to lose, but it was not a comfortable loss, and so it might cost him Aaron Rodgers coming back.
We're going to talk about that in just a second. To make the whole thing, I mean, I feel like this game turned right before the halftime with the touchdown, with 1 second left in the half. right?
Yeah.
They should have never given up. And then immediately in the second half, they fumble the football and they go in and score again.
Right.
That you lost the football game right there. That was your you were playing with them. It was even, and then all of a sudden you just decided, oh, we're not gonna play football for the next 3 or 4 minutes of football, and we're done. And then you're playing catch up the rest of the game, which is probably why they didn't run the football. I can kind of understand that, but at some point in time, you have to ground out some things. You have to make the other team believe that you're going to run. Otherwise, incomplete pass, incomplete pass, incomplete pass. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then a field goal, which did you absolutely no good.
Yeah.
In the end, because you still needed a touchdown.
Yeah, and I get that a touchdown now wins it. I get the logic. If you're gonna get some points, whatever.
Yeah,
I get that you believe that on the last 3 plays you got nothing. They weren't giving up anything, so why not take something and then try and get a defensive stop? But it's Tom frickin' Brady.
Right.
Do not give him a chance to show you how bad your decision making is. Because
all right,
will expose it.
All right, so Brady is 20 of 36, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Quite honestly, pedestrian in the second half. He looked not as he looked like Aaron Rodgers in the first half. In the second half,
yeah, and midway through the third quarter, he went downhill.
And then Aaron Rodgers was 33 of 48, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was, however, sacked 5 times. That had a lot to do with a lot of things. You can't give up 5 sacks and win many football games. It normally doesn't happen. Neither team could run the football. Tampa Bay rushed for 76 yards. Green Bay rushed for 67 yards. But they didn't care. It was just throwing the football around.
It's gonna tick me off that Leonard Fournette has a shot at a Super Bowl. I cannot stand guys who, he was overhyped coming out of college. He gets to the NFL. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He's a dud. And then he leaves. I mean, it could be because Jacksonville was a dud, but regardless, you're supposed to make that team infinitely better. He didn't. And then he demands his way out of it and goes to Tampa and gets thrown onto he's the Danny Green of the team. He's got some talent, sure, and he helps sometimes, but there's a lot of other guys carrying this team.
All right, 2 questions. Yeah. Tampa now becomes the first team ever in Super Bowl history to be playing on their home field in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How big a deal is that?
It's not.
You don't think so?
So they're allowing 22,000 fans in.
Sure.
7,500 of those are certified vaccinated healthcare workers.
Correct.
From across the country.
Sure.
So that's not going to be that many from Tampa. It's assuming that it's spread even. It's not going to be that many from Tampa. There's going to be a bunch from everywhere, which means that there's 14.5 or 13.5 seats left.
Yeah, that's about right.
And the way the ticket process goes is that 30% of the tickets, so of that 13.5, are allotted for the teams, for their staff and their families and things like that. So it only ends up leaving, however many thousand tickets, whatever it is, like 7 or 8,000 tickets. And then that is spread up amongst the NFL. Each team gets, like 11% of the tickets or some crap like that. 8% of the tickets to divvy up. There are going to be Buffalo fans at that game because they bought tickets to it. There's only going to end up being like 2,000 Tampa fans.
I was told that
stadium, but it's going to be comfortable.
I was told there'd be no math. So let's.
I did the math because we were talking about it. It's because somebody asked me how big of a deal it is. Like, well, there can't be that many people there, and I started doing it. I think it ends up being like, assuming a bunch of Tampa fans flood in and buy tickets off of people who are trying to get rid of them from other teams.
Sure.
I think the most you'll end up with is like 5,000 Tampa fans, which is some. I think your bigger deal is that you're sleeping at home.
That's what I was going to say. Home cooking. You can eat a home cooked meal the night before.
Home locker room.
Yeah, home locker. Yeah, everything feels like home.
That home drive.
Right. Even if they were playing, I don't know, let's say they were going to play in Orlando or somewhere, you know what I mean? Right. That would still be it'd feel like a road game. They'd stay in a hotel. It wouldn't be their own things. But to be playing at home, I feel like gives him and I say him because it's Tom Brady, gives him a gigantic advantage that he probably doesn't need.
Might lull him to sleep a little bit, though.
Well, I'm hoping. They'll oversleep. If we could, reset their alarm. Anyway, so the other question I have is, why all of a sudden did everyone just assume that Aaron Rodgers is going to leave the Packers? I mean, I didn't.
It's been being talked about for a while.
But he
the
hasn't.
last couple of years because they drafted a quarterback,
Sure.
and then in the game-defining moment,
Sure.
you didn't trust your quarterback.
Right. Well, but at least they didn't put.
Kind of seems like that.
They didn't put Jordan Love in, so I guess it's. But my point.
You had no reason to bench him. But the point there is that you showed distrust by drafting a quarterback, drafting the next guy, and maybe you're securing your future, whatever you want to call it. But the bottom line is Aaron Rodgers isn't dead, and he's not on crutches right now. So, drafting him was slightly disrespectful. Not a bad decision, but then not trusting him in the big moments. That'll get you with a guy like Rodgers, who's already got a Super Bowl ring, who's already done plenty and accomplished plenty. You start becoming the kind of coach who second guesses his abilities.
Right. So
he's gonna go.
Just so everyone knows, Aaron Rodgers threw for 4,300 yards and 48 touchdowns with 5 interceptions.
He's probably going to win the MVP. He should.
Yeah, 70.7% completion percentage, the highest in his career. And in his career, he's thrown for 51,000 yards, 412 touchdowns, just 89 interceptions. He is probably one of the best decision makers with the football.
He's really good. And he can run a little bit, too.
He can run a little bit when he needs to, if you let him.
He had that potential touchdown run into the right side late in the game that he just didn't do.
Yeah.
He tried to hum back in there, and it was that was a whole nother thing.
But still. I feel like the uproar was unnecessary, saying, "Hey, is he going to leave?" I mean, are they going to? What? I don't think he's been there his whole career. I don't think at this point he's going to say, "I want to leave." But I think he would have to have a serious conversation about, "Hey, next year I want to own the offense." That's what I would be doing. I'd be.
Don't you dare yank me off the field?
Well, or don't you dare, not let me call that play.
Right.
When that game is on the line and we have the ball, let me have the control of the offense. I am the offensive coordinator now. That's what I would have done. But hey, what do I know? So
what do we know?
What do we know? We're just, hey, I got a show and I can talk all I want and say all the nasty things I want about the coaching staff at Green Bay who blew them an opportunity for a Super Bowl. But hey, in the end, let's move on because we did that one. So let's talk about Buffalo, Kansas City.
Much better game.
It was a much better game, kinda. I don't know that. Okay, hold on. I don't know that it was a much better game.
It was a much better game because it gave you that hope right at the end. That hope that you don't want to have.
It was a 2-touchdown win.
And yet they got an onside kick in this little flicker of light.
When they were down 23.
That's right. It still happened though, and you were like, "Man, this could be a thing." And then Patrick Mahomes did what he did best and stomped on your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, the first 9 points of the game, Buffalo. The last 9 points of the game, Buffalo.
Yeah.
In between, they got hammered. They got hammered 38-6 in the rest of the game.
Patrick Mahomes, man, he's really good.
He's apparently okay, isn't he? He might make it. That kid might be something.
I don't know if he's gonna make it for 10 years though. That damn deal he signed.
Yeah, so 38-24, the Chiefs win, and we kind of saw that coming. The Chiefs are a loaded team, and they are probably way better. But I really thought the Buffalo defense would be better than 38 points. I just did. After watching them hold the Ravens to 3, right? I figured, they got a chance, right? No. Mahomes was 29 of 38, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. Only sacked one time for, apparently no yards. How do you get a sack and no yards lost? I don't think that's is that a thing?
Sure.
Okay. Josh Allen, 28 of 48, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He was sacked 4 times. He did not have a bad game. He was the leading rusher. He ran 7 times for 88 yards, including
he can move.
That big 18-yard run that he had, where it looked like he was going to go a hell of a lot further. But
he's not that fast.
He's not. He was the leading rusher in the game,
but it doesn't make him fast.
No, it did not. But I don't know. I didn't feel like Buffalo after the first quarter. Was it the first quarter? Let me back up. Let me get a good in after. I guess it was the second quarter because that's when Kansas City started scoring.
Right.
I realized they can't keep pace. They are not going to. It's Kansas City just started taking over, and there's no way they're going to keep pace. And at that point, I was like, nah. And yeah, there was a touchdown, the onside kick. Okay, but I was still like, man, there's still a long ways down.
Well, by the time it got to that point, you kind of it was a miracle that they would be if they were going to be in it. But
Yeah.
you hoped that they would do what their defense had done all year and step up.
Yeah, you needed.
And they just did not or could not. I think I'm going to lean towards could not,
Right.
just because it's freaking the Chiefs.
I laughed because the Chiefs ran for 114 yards, although one of those was Hardman on his 50-yard scamper.
Yeah, talk about a comeback.
Yeah. So
He took that what's it called? He took that fumble personally.
yeah.
Where's that? Somebody put up. Have you seen the Michael Jordan? I took that personally memes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
somebody put that one up for me, Cole Hardman. A picture up top, he fumbled the ball, and I took that personally.
Tyreek Hill, 9 catches, 172 yards. Travis Kelce, 13 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce killed them.
Yeah, Travis
As
Kelce's
well.
pretty darn good.
He's okay, isn't he? Yeah, I don't know. I wish that was closer. I just wish they had been better in the middle. And just, I don't mind that Kansas City won. I just wanted it to be a better football game to watch because, like I said, by halftime you go, nah, this is not a real thing.
I don't
So
know. It never felt that bad. Like you were still entertained. One, because at any given point you can watch, you can watch Patrick Mahomes, which is always kind of fun to watch. But also there's something about watching Josh Allen.
yeah,
He's definitely a big playmaker. He's fun to watch, and they're going to be a really good team for quite a while.
yeah. So here's the question of the day, by the way. And Kansas City, just for you fans out there, they get Le'Veon Bell back for the Super Bowl. He's going to be back. So not that that'll help them, but I'm just saying it's another running back.
Not bad.
But we did watch the best part. The best part. I say the best part of that game. The most interesting part of that game when the frustrations got to the Bills. Josh Allen has this habit of trying to fight off a sack. He thinks he's bigger and stronger and he can just keep you at arm's length, which he does for a while as he's backpedaling 30 yards. And he did it at least twice. And then he goes down. He gets sacked. He was frustrated. He threw the football.
Yeah.
And it hit Kansas City's Alex Okafor in the face mask, but not like hard. He just chucked it.
It really didn't hit him very hard.
No, I mean it wasn't. But of course, Okafor takes exception to it because what do you this is a thing. Got up and stood over the top of Josh Allen. At which point, offensive line comes to the rescue. John Feliciano shoves him to the ground. Deion Dawkins, while he's on the ground, adds an extra shot. Right. And next thing you know, we've got 4 penalties: 3 on Buffalo, 1 on Kansas City, and then I'm waiting for them to start marching off yardage, and then nothing. Oh, these are offsetting penalties, and it's nothing. What? So I was frustrated by that, and I still, yeah.
The NFL, man. Offsetting penalties are kind of a joke.
That was a. I mean, you'd think that Buffalo needed to lose 30 yards right there, right? There's 4 penalties.
Probably,
these 2 offset.
They did a lot wrong.
But these 2, you know what I mean? But it not that it really mattered. But I'm just saying it's one of those things in the NFL where they have these weird rules, and I don't like the fact that the defense gets when defense gets a penalty, it's an automatic first down for the offense. I mean, almost every penalty is an automatic first down. Okay, well that's an advantage to and I know why they do it. I know that they're trying to build an advantage for the offense. They want people to score because no one likes watching a 0-0 game. Sorry, SEC. No one likes watching a 0-0 game.
No one.
A 6-3 game is not fun to watch. Oh, it's great defense. Yeah, I fell asleep. But I understand why they do it, and I get that. I just feel like we should even it out a little bit more because you already don't allow a defensive player to breathe on the quarterback. You already don't allow, there's illegal contact, defensive holding, and pass interference all on the defense. What does the offense get? Well, occasionally pass interference, but it has to be like when the ball's in the air and you push off to go get it, right? They never call picks, and a pick play when you see one. It is illegal, but they don't call it.
They really don't do that.
You have to run out and grab the guy and take him to the ground, and then they'll call it. But that's ridiculous. Nobody does that. All I have to do is throw my hands up as I'm turning around, running into the defender, like I'm going to catch a pass all of a sudden, even though he's not going to catch a pass. Anyway, there's lots of rules that they could change. Penalties are one of those things that we really need to look at again because I feel like the less is more in the penalty category.
You think they should call less penalties?
I think they should call less penalties altogether. I think like holding, offensive holding, defensive holding. If you're strong enough, you'll break away from it. Strongest man wins. That's holding. That's what. Let the offensive line, defensive line hold each other. That's fine.
Yeah, then it wouldn't have been a first down Tampa.
Let them just hold each other.
I mean, they call PI, but
Yeah. I know. So anyway, that's just me talking. That's my little tangent for the day.
Glad you got that out.
Right? So am I. I feel so much better. So we're gonna move along here, and we're gonna talk about the NHL for just a minute. Going to give you a brief update on NHL hockey. Scoreboard from last night, just so you guys know: Bruins 3-2 over the Penguins. The Sabres beat the Rangers 3-2. Flyers over the Devils 5-3. Capitals over the Islanders 3-2. Panthers beat the Blue Jackets 4-3. Predators over the Blackhawks 3-2 in overtime. The Jets beat the Oilers 6-4. The Kings 2-1 winners over the Minnesota Wild. The Dallas Stars 2-1 winners over the Red Wings. Maple Leafs 4-3 over the Flames. Avalanche with 7 goals over the Sharks 7-3. Ducks 1-0 over the Coyotes, and the Blues in a shootout over the Golden Knights 5-4. Your current standings, just for everybody's fun and games, and why can't I get this to come up? There it is. So your current standings. There you go. There's your Scotia North. I don't like this, but you know what? What's the term I'm looking for? I just had it on the top of my head. They realigned the divisions this year in NHL hockey, and if you'll notice, the Scotia North is all Canadian teams, regardless of what coast they're on. So Toronto, Montreal, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary, Ottawa. Doesn't matter if you're west or east; it's just the North, and I like that. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a great way to do it. Toronto Maple Leafs leading the North, and then you have your West, which is Las Vegas, St. Louis, Colorado, Los Angeles, Anaheim, Minnesota, San Jose, Arizona. I like it, except St. Louis isn't West. Somebody forgot to tell them that. But Vegas with 11 points, still leading. Las Vegas, one of those teams that's a really good hockey team right from their inception. They were good last year. They're good this year.
Yeah.
The Mass Mutual East has all those traditional teams that we like watching. The Capitals, the Bruins, Flyers, Penguins. Washington Caps with 11 points lead the Mass Mutual East. Boston, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh all tied for second. The Discover Central has Columbus, Dallas, Florida, which I don't figure out how Florida's in the Central either, but okay. And Carolina, Detroit, Chicago, Nashville. Columbus with 7 points leads the Central. Dallas, Florida, Tampa Bay, Nashville, Chicago all have 6 points. Detroit has 5. Carolina has 4. Literally, everybody's like one win out from being in first place.
It's all super tight. It's so early.
It's so early in the season. It's true. But that's the hockey. That's all the hockey I have for you today. I was just watching hockey on TV just a second ago, and it was Nashville and Chicago. Nashville wins in a shootout 2-1. Neither team scored first 2 periods, and then Nashville gets one. Blackhawks answer in the third. Goes through overtime, goes to a shootout. Predators win 2-1. And currently in the third period with 2 minutes to go, not that it matters, but the Canucks lead the Senators 5-1. That's your hockey update. That's your hockey minute, which probably took 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, it took a few minutes. It's okay.
It's okay. So there's your hockey update for the day. So that's the first half of the show. Second half of the show brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. This Valentine's Day, celebrate their obsession. I can't even read the thing that I say and write, and I say this every week, right? But I can't even. Let me start over. Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. This Valentine's Day, celebrate their obsession with a BossKittyShop.com gift card, and be sure to tune in BossKittyLive.com at 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday, and 11 a.m. every other Sunday for fun, fiber, games, tutorials, and the occasional F-bomb. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss you'll knit your pants. See, I say it every week, and I still can't remember what I'm saying. So, anyway.
It happens.
I'll get there. Just give me a minute. So let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers for a minute.
Sweet.
Trailblazers are out there. They're out there. They went. They're still on. Okay, let me back up. They're 9-7, 3-3 in their
Right.
last 6 games, including Monday night's 125-122 loss to Oklahoma City.
Right.
They're continuing their win one, lose one tour.
Yeah, classic Blazers.
Currently, they're the number 5 seed in the West, but they're just one loss from being out of the top 8. Because again, it's still early. Even though we're talking about 16 games, that's a hefty chunk of the season.
It's a decent sample.
Yeah. Lillard leads the team in scoring, 28.7 points per game and assists at 7 per. Since CJ went out on the 16th against Atlanta, Dame is averaging about 35 points a game. Stepped up his game immensely because at the beginning of the season he was not the scorer. CJ was the guy.
Right.
But now it's back. It feels more normal, except CJ would normally be there scoring 20. So
CJ's hurt.
Right.
Big issue you run into.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, both injuries, him and Nurk. Not that Nurkic was as big a deal because they have some other big men, but they don't have that guy, to replace CJ McCollum. They really don't. I would like.
He's an impressive scorer. He's hard to replace.
I would like to think that they could find a guy, but I mean they've already paying those two guys so much money that it's hard to find the best backup. You know what I mean? Another guy that can perform at that level. And here's the thing that I just drives me nuts, and I'm going to tell you what. So I was sitting here looking at all the stats for the teams, for the Blazers especially. Gary Trent Jr. Right? He's a 42%. Yeah. He's a 42% 3-point shooter. He is a 61% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Anthony Simmons is a 41.5% 3-point shooter. He is a 66% free throw shooter. Why are there guards on your team that can't make a free throw? Because that's what guards do. Damian and CJ, obviously both. Lillard shoots at 95%. McCollum's an 84% free throw shooter. That's what guards do. How do you have shooting guards that literally can shoot the lights out, but they can't make a free throw? That's my question.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and yet it seems to happen pretty much all the time.
It does seem to happen a lot. I don't understand. You would think that if that's your weakness, and clearly that's a weakness, you would be working on it nonstop until it wasn't a weakness anymore. And I understand the difficulty of big men with the mechanics and whatnot. They're not jump shooters. It's a little bit different. Like Shaq was a terrible free throw shooter. Got it.
Right.
And not that he didn't practice it, but at some point in time, he probably just said, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. So let me just keep going.
Because it's not working.
Because it's not working, and we're still winning.
Yeah, we're doing fine. We're winning titles, but this is not working.
Right.
So
I'm not
working. Not worry about it.
I'm not going to work on it anymore. Anyway, so that's 2 rants today. So that's we're gonna have to have a rant meter. Anyway, Enes Kanter, he's averaging a double-double, 10 and 10 for the season so far, just under 21 minutes a game. I think that's pretty darn good. He's been pressed into some extra duty thanks to the Nurkic injury. I don't know. They play the Houston Rockets tomorrow night, 4:30 Pacific on TNT. Can they just hold their spot until they heal up? Do you think that's possible?
I don't think so. No, I don't believe in the Blazers. Is the problem. I don't believe that they're ever going to do enough. Trading 1-1s, they're going to drop because there are other teams that are surging. It's just I don't believe that they're going to be able to tread enough water until it gets back. CJ's another 3 weeks away. Nurk's another 6 weeks away or something like that. I mean, I keep hearing different things about his timeline, but I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. I would expect Nurk to come back after the All-Star break, and we don't have the depth to handle all that. And then you got Derek Jones Jr. and Robert Covington both have injuries. It's too much. Yeah, they're going to start falling here soon.
Yeah, and when you're only suiting up 7 or 8, it becomes a difficult task because people playing a lot of minutes that normally don't play a lot of minutes. But that's a whole nother thing. I mean, you're a professional athlete. If you know that you're going to be getting extra minutes because everyone else is hurt, I think that your stamina, you'd work on that. But I think you'd work on your free throws too. But whatever. Here's my question. So let's talk about the rest of the NBA in reference to the Portland Trailblazers. So since we talked last Wednesday, The Lakers went 3-0. Still have the best record in the NBA, 14-4.
Classic Lakers.
The Jazz are 13-4. The Clippers are 13-5. So they're all right there together. They're the top three. And then Denver comes out of nowhere. They won 4 straight. They're now 10-7. They're in the number 4 seed right now in the West. Do either the Jazz or the Clippers, do they look like a team that can beat the Lakers in a series?
No.
Okay.
No, none of these teams look like teams that can beat. Nobody has the matchups, especially offensively. And considering it's an offensive game, that's kind of what you have to have. You have to have an offensive matchup. You have to have a guy who can score like Anthony Davis and get calls like LeBron. If you don't have those two guys, you're never going to compete with them in an offensive game like we have today. Great defense be damned. Ask Rudy Gobert. It doesn't matter how good you are at defense. Your team might still not cut it.
So do you think that the Lakers are still the team to beat, no matter what, East, West, doesn't matter? This is the team, and it will be relatively an easy road for them?
Yes. I think that they're not going to experience too many challenges. I mean, they did lose tonight to Philadelphia. They think they just lost recently, like here in the last few minutes. But it's those types of losses. They're going to lose occasional games to East teams because that's when you're going to sit a couple guys. Maybe that's when Caruso takes a night off, that sort of thing.
Sure.
It doesn't matter all that much when you're playing those East games, as long as your West games tally up the right way. So yes, they're the team to beat. They've been the team to beat. That unless there's a major injury to LeBron or Anthony Davis, I doubt I'll change my tune. Or unless they both just start making like under 10%. But LeBron will still have 20 a game because he'll have 20 free throws.
Sure. So NBA scores from tonight. Memphis and Chicago were postponed, but the Milwaukee Bucks were 115-108 winners over Toronto. Like you just said, Philadelphia 76ers 107-106 at home over the Lakers. The Denver Nuggets won their 5th straight game now with a 109-82 win at Miami. Brooklyn with a 132-128 win in overtime over Atlanta. Sacramento 121-107 over Orlando. Cleveland 122-107 over Detroit. In Indiana 116-106 over Charlotte. I keep wanting to say Indianapolis, and I know that's not right.
We talk a lot of football, so
right?
Indianapolis comes up often.
Boston and San Antonio are tied at 101 with about a minute left to go in the fourth. The Pelicans lead the Wizards 87-65, 3:45 to go in the third. Phoenix 71, Oklahoma City 69, about a minute to go in the third. Utah leads Dallas by 22. It's 91-69 with 4 minutes to go in the third. And then Golden State and Minnesota is your late game on ESPN. Golden State 17, Minnesota 12 with 2 minutes to go in the first. And so in the East, by the way, the Sixers, who just beat the Lakers, are 13-6, and they've taken the lead in the East.
Yeah.
And they're playing much better. The Celtics, the Bucks, the Pacers, the Nets, since we talked last week, we're all 500. They've been playing 500. The Celtics, the Bucks, and the Pacers and the Nets had all gone 2-2 since last week, and the Bucks went 1-1. So nobody was doing anything and nobody was moving. And the Cavs in that time beat the Nets twice in that time. The Cavaliers.
I like these 2-game sets that they do like right in a row. I think it's kind of nice.
It's more like baseball.
Yeah, you have like a little series,
a 3-game series. Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, I really do. And that way, you limit the travel. You play 3 games in a row. You don't have to go anywhere. I like it. I think it's great. Do you feel like any team in that East? Okay, first of all, the fact that the Nets lost twice to the Cavs, is that a reason for concern for the super team, the new super team?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't be overly concerned with any of that.
Did you?
It just it's a new team. They're breaking it in. It's going to take some time. They're not going to be gelling right away, and they have some very different skill sets. And some of those guys have played together before, but some of them haven't. Nah, it's not. It's nothing. It's nothing to be concerned about. Come All-Star break, they'll have it dialed in.
So tonight we're going to answer the question. By the way, how much does it cost you if you hit someone in the groin area in the NBA?
Do we know now?
We do. We know now. So
Jamal Murray.
Yeah. So the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, he on Monday night they're playing the Mavericks, and he starts going to the basket, and Tim Hardaway Jr. kind of blocks him, and he falls down. I would say knock him down, but he didn't really knock him down. He fell down.
It looked a little floppy.
Right. Murray falls down and then gets angry about it. And as on his way up, he hits Tim Hardaway Jr. in the groin area. Well, apparently, not only is that a flagrant 2 and an ejection, it's $25,000. So that's what it costs. So if you got an extra $25,000, apparently that's what it'll cost you if you just want to smack someone in the groin area. Anyway, just thought I'd let everybody know. So we'll keep an eye on that because if it happens again, we'll see if the penalty matches. See if the next one is exactly the same. Because apparently they've set the bar at $25,000.
That's a first-time offender.
I don't know if it is or not, though. But maybe, yeah. I mean, it might be.
We hope it's his first and only offense. It was actually an accident,
right? I hope that's the only time he has done that. All-Star voting starts this Thursday for the NBA. If you're interested, not that I care. I really don't. We used to vote. I remember growing up, we used to vote for those things, a little paper ballot, and you used to mark who you wanted to be on the NBA All-Star team, and your guy never made it because you were in a small market city. So
yeah, the day Kobe, I mean,
yeah.
R.I.P. Kobe, but the day Kobe went in after he missed the first 50-something games of the season,
right?
I was like, how is he an All-Star this year? I didn't understand. I get he's a perennial, he's an All-Star, he's a Hall of Famer,
right?
That doesn't make you an All-Star.
No,
it lost me then.
So you remember we were talking about the NBA is trying to combat the piling up of postponements due to COVID-19.
Right.
And on Wednesday, they said they were going to adjust the existing schedule to avoid having to fill in too many games during the second half of the season. So they're literally taking some of those games from the second half of the season that haven't been played yet and moving them to the front half of the season. And I've yet to figure out how that's going to make it better for the second half of the season because you haven't played the games from the first half of the season yet.
Well, your hope is that teams that are having COVID issues can get them under control.
Yeah,
second half, like Memphis.
I assume that's what they're doing. To date, there's been 22 postponements. Of those 22 games, 12 have involved two teams: the Wizards, who didn't play from January 11th to the 24th, and the Memphis Grizzlies, who haven't played since January 18th, and won't return before Saturday when they play San Antonio at the earliest if they're cleared to play. It's a mess. And they knew it was going to be. And you knew it was going to be. Everybody knew it was going to be. But it's one of those things where what we talked about off the air was that this was the fact that they're going to have control over the schedule that they haven't released it yet is a little fishy.
It's suspect.
Yeah. I don't like it. I mean, I really don't think that. I mean, I think they've never done that before. Why are they doing that now? Oh, well, it's unprecedented, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you didn't. No other season of yours, you lay out all the games. These are your schedule, right? And then if you need to reschedule things or move things, you can do it. But at least you know your schedule. Well, now we don't even know.
This way, they could cancel the season at the midway point if they had to.
I suppose.
And say, look, they finished their schedule that we had released.
It's weird. I don't like it. I think there's something going on. It's fishy. It smells weird.
It definitely doesn't seem.
If it walks like a duck. Speaking of that, well, first of all, let's give everyone a Karis LeVert update. We talked about Karis LeVert. If everybody remembers, he's playing for the Indiana Pacers now. Came over, he went to Houston from Brooklyn?
Yeah, from Brooklyn.
And then got traded to Indiana.
Yep.
And when he went for his physical in Indiana, part of the trade, routine physical, they found a mass on his kidney, and turns out it was cancerous. But he underwent on Monday successful surgery to treat renal cell carcinoma on his left kidney, and he's going to be out indefinitely while he recovers. But we wish him a speedy recovery. But may have just saved his life. Routine physical might have just saved his life. There you go. So
there's a lot of people that have been saying that, their COVID screenings and things like that have led to discoveries of health conditions. I think it's pretty cool. It's a positive side effect. And
I feel like you should go see your doctor more. So that's just me talking.
I hate going to my doctor.
If you haven't gone and seen your doctor for a checkup, you probably should. because this is the kind of thing that can happen. Anyway, just want to give everybody a Karis LeVert update. I know everyone was concerned, so I got to throw it out there. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We're going to update it. So let's talk about college basketball for just a minute. How about 2 minutes? So for the second time this month, the Oregon men's basketball team has paused activities due to COVID-19. The number 22 Ducks, and I say they're number 22, but that's in the one poll. They're unranked in the AP poll.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. They're 9-3, 4-2 in the Pac-12. They were supposed to travel to LA to play UCLA on Thursday and then again on Monday, and then USC on Saturday in between. So it was like a 3-game sweep. But all 3 games were postponed. It's the third time that the December 23rd game against UCLA, which was supposed to be played in Eugene, is being rescheduled. Last Saturday, Oregon had the minimum 8 scholarship players available to play, and they lost to Oregon State. Yeah. So basketball in college is not doing any better.
No.
In fact, it's probably worse.
And I think you'll have a harder time governing kids.
20-year-olds, yeah. I know.
I mean, it's not entirely their job to
govern themselves.
To be super,
reliable,
on top of their game and reliable and things like that. I just feel like that's going to be a much harder way to go about it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Having raised 3 20-year-olds at one point, they are much harder to control. So let's also talk about then regular college basketball. I say regular, like the Oregon Ducks are not regular college basketball. Let's talk about men's college basketball, right? Have you looked at the rankings, the men's college basketball rankings, the AP and Coaches Poll recently, and seen that Gonzaga and Baylor, 2 unbeatens, are at the top, right?
Yeah.
And it's not unusual for either team to be there. And then Villanova, Michigan, Texas, Houston, Iowa. These are all the same on both polls. That's how that poll goes. Houston's a little bit of a surprise. They're 13-1 this year, that they're up that high. The rest of those teams you would expect to be there, right? The problem is, as I'm looking through this top 25 poll, both top 25 polls, you know who's missing. And go ahead.
Some notable teams.
Some notable teams are missing, and you see it immediately if you've been around for, like I have, a couple of basketball seasons. You notice that I'm looking through this chart, and where's North Carolina? Well, there is no North Carolina. Where's Duke? There is no Duke. Where's Kentucky? There is no Kentucky. Kentucky's 5-10 this year.
It's not great.
4 conference wins. They're 4-4 in the conference. They're 5-10 overall. Kentucky is probably not going to make the NCAA tournament.
Talk about a team that is so well prepared on a normal. I mean, I think that if you ever needed like what were the effects of, or did COVID have these kinds of effects on teams? This is a great example of it.
Right. And what's going to be the lasting effect of this is my question, because you see that these teams that were big powerhouse names, they're not in there anymore. That's going to affect some recruiting at some point. Some kid's going to go, oh, but Duke isn't like the old Duke. This isn't like the Duke I'm used to. I don't want to go play there. Right? It's going to have to affect somebody at some point, or North Carolina or Kentucky. Right? And I don't know. It feels weird. It just feels, this whole year feels weird already. So there's a lot of teams on here that I'm used to seeing in the top 25. But almost all these teams have top 25 experience. Alabama, Texas Tech, West Virginia, Ohio State's in here, Wisconsin, Creighton, Tennessee's on here, UCLA, St. Louis, even the Billikens. I don't know what a Billiken is, by the way.
I'm still trying to figure that one out myself.
If you do, let me know. But I mean, these are all teams that are you're used to seeing in the top 25 at some point in time, but not necessarily always. And I swear Duke was on the top. Has been in the top 25 poll since I've been alive. I feel like that. It's not true, but I feel like that every time I look at
one of those teams has
the chart. Yeah, and that's what you found out, right?
Yes, I couldn't remember the date because it was literally a push notification from ESPN, but it is the first time since the 1960s that neither Kentucky, UNC, or Duke, one of the 3, wasn't in the top 25. Very first time. So yeah, since you've been alive, since I've been alive, one of them has been ranked at all times. Probably 2.
And here's the weird thing: not only are none of them ranked, down at the bottom of the poll, the place where nobody looks, that little fine print at the bottom.
The others receiving votes.
Right. Yeah, down in the fine print where you find those other teams that you go, oh, they just missed out, or oh, they're a long ways from me. Oh, look who got one vote.
Better than I thought they
Yeah,
were.
yeah. Look at Winthrop who got one vote. Right. They're not even in there. They're not even in the others. None of those three teams are in any. You not even mentioned in a poll. I find that weird, and it blows my mind. I can't stress that enough.
It's pretty alarming.
It's pretty alarming. It's a different basketball season if they get to finish, and or if they get to have. They've got permission to have the tournament in one location, right? In Indiana. Well, not one location, but it's all going to be in Indiana, around Indianapolis.
Yeah.
The question is, how many teams are going to be in said tournament? Because they are literally floating out ideas of, a much smaller tournament, like a 16-team tournament, and then the regular 64, and then there's one that has like, I don't know, 90 teams or some crap like that.
As long as they're cool to go back. I don't want this to become an NCAA thing where like, oh, we really like the competitiveness of just 16.
Well, I figure there's 100. There's how many? Okay, you know what? There's the trivia question. How many NCAA Division I basketball teams are there? Anybody?
Yes, there's 200 and something.
Hang on, I'm typing it in as we speak. You probably hear it clickety clacking. 350.
Holy crap!
There are 32 Division I basketball conferences. There are 350 schools. So my suggestion is this: why don't we just start the tournament with all 350 right at the beginning of the season? And to heck with regular season games. If you once you lose, you can go schedule.
Everything is a tournament.
You can go schedule. Yeah, every game is a tournament game. You're win in advance. How long will that take? It'll take a little while to get through 350. Not as long as you think it will, because after one round, 175 schools are gone. So
and then they can start planning their season.
Right, then those guys can play
a summer tournament.
Play amongst themselves. With all 350
all 350 teams participate in the summer tournament. It takes place in July and August, and then once it's done, then you schedule your fall.
Oh, I like it.
Then you do your fall, and you kind of roll into your more traditional,
like a preseason tournament.
It's the NCAA preseason tournament.
Oh, NCAA.
But I don't want to call it preseason because I don't want anybody taking any plays off.
Well, yeah, I mean, every game counts.
I don't want Pop sitting Kawhi for 2 games.
Well, I want the game to count for something though. I don't want it to be like a.
Well, it counts for that tournament.
Well, no, but I mean, I want it to count for
summer champions.
Great. They're gonna just hand out another trophy. I want to have it. Let's say like the winner of that tournament is an automatic number 1 seed in the end of the year tournament.
Ooh,
automatic in. You're automatic 1 seed.
Well, your top 4 teams are
top 4. There you go. Top 4 teams are the 1 seed for the next year, for the end of the year tournament.
Interesting. You know what? I don't think 1 seed matters. But let's say you get home court advantage.
Well, that means you're just top 8.
Let's find a way to change. Well, no, because you get home region advantage. I mean, like, I want those people to get home court. Like, I want the games at your stadium. And if you're in the top 4, every game that you play will be at your stadium until you get to the final 4.
I like the idea of teams being able to play at home, and then women's basketball does that until they get to a certain point. I like them having home games, but I don't think they're going to do that. Like this year especially, no matter who would have won the summer, everyone's going to play in Indiana for the tournament, which if they make it that far, let's just put a caveat on that because I know
some people out there might go out and check it out.
All right, there you go. If you can get a ticket, there are probably no fans, but hey, whatever. Also, the University of Oregon women's team is playing, and there's not the hullabaloo like there was last year. There's not
as good.
Not the hubbub. Hey, they're the number 11 team in the country.
They're not bad. They have taken a little step back. They've lost some immense talent.
They did,
as you would expect. But then also Stanford kind of took that step forward a little bit. So
it's hard to lose.
They would have been stepped back for a little bit.
It's hard to lose 3 first-round draft picks off of any team, right? I mean, in any sport,
not going to shake out well,
right? It usually doesn't translate into great, but and they're playing in probably what might be the toughest conference in women's college basketball. UCLA's number 5, Stanford's number 6, Arizona's 10, Oregon's 11. Stanford at one point was the number 1 team in the country.
When they beat Oregon, they were, yeah.
Right. And Oregon is 9-3. All 3 losses are to those teams.
Yeah.
They've lost 1 time to each of those teams.
Which kind of tells you that their rankings justified. All those teams should be ahead of them.
Probably.
Yeah, but they get a chance to play all those teams again.
Correct.
And they lost to Stanford on the road, so they got a home game coming.
Yeah.
UCLA was at home, so there's no real great excuse for that. And Arizona was on the road, so 2 of those 3 games were on the road.
Yeah, and the only one they really got bombed at, they lost by 16 to Arizona.
Yeah, that was
didn't show up.
Weird matchup. But then the week before though, they beat Cal by 60 or 59.
So the Cal women's team is 0-11.
Jeez.
The Cal women's team is bad. I was looking earlier today at non-conference records, just because it seems like they give some people love and other people not love. The Pac-12, if you take out Cal, the Pac-12 is 27-2 in their non-conference games this year. Yeah, 27-2.
Not bad at all.
That's really good. Cal's 0-3, which makes them 27-5. 27-5 is still an 84% winning percentage. I mean, you're still winning. So here's the issue that I have with this, because did college basketball not all start at the same time? All the conferences are playing different things, aren't they? Like
a little bit, yeah.
Like they did with football season. So here's the thing, is because I was looking at the SEC as a comparison, and these teams have played anywhere from 6 to 9 non-conference games. But the Pac-12, the most that's out there is 4. And I'm like, that's a lot more extra basketball. It's a lot more extra tune-up games. It's a lot of playing.
You get better that way. They had to jump. The Pac-12 had to jump right into their schedule.
Yeah, it seems weird though
that's on the Pac-12. Thank God the commissioner's leaving.
Yeah. Anyway. So
we could do a whole segment on me being happy that they're getting rid of that guy. So
okay.
We'll save that for next week.
We'll save that for next week, because you know what, we're going to talk. We have one main topic. Hold on, we'll talk that in a minute. That's basically all I have for our show today.
Perfect.
We have the trivia question though, because everybody loves trivia question. Right? The best Lamm Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. The winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, is open 7 days a week from 12 to 6 for patio dining. There's probably heaters. I don't know. It's probably still cold. You should take a jacket. The downtown tasting room is temporarily closed. Go to stavenstone.com and check out their selection of award-winning wines. For more information, call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. Email them info@stavenstone.com. That's Stavenstone Wines with Personality. So we asked the trivia question at the beginning of the show, like we always do. And what was the trivia question?
What 2 teams have started, what team has started 11-0 twice in the NBA?
What franchise? That's the correct
franchise.
What franchise has had 2 teams that started at least 11-0? They're the only franchise in NBA history to have 2 teams start at least 11-0. One team was 11-0 and one team was 14-0 to start the season. What's your guess?
Can I get a division?
No. No.
Because I have 2 guesses.
Okay. All right. Well, but you're only gonna get half credit.
That's fine. It's better than no credit if I get it wrong. So
it's in the East.
It's in the East?
It's in the East.
Okay, well then I'm going to tell you what my West guess was.
Okay,
the East guess. My West guess was going to be the Lakers, because I think like the 80s Lakers.
That would have been a good, decent guess.
So then my East guess is, who's their big rival?
I know who their big rival is.
The Celtics.
There you go. It is the Celtics.
80s Celtics. Oh, it is?
It is the Boston Celtics.
Oh.
So
I was just guessing the teams from the 80s that were really good, and I'm like, well, one of them probably did it.
So the 64-65 Boston Celtics were 11-0 to start the season.
Oh my God, the 60s.
And the 57-58 Celtics were 14-0 to start the season.
I was thinking about teams that were good in the 80s.
Well, I mean, this is all Red Auerbach era. And, this was, Bill Russell.
It was the real grit of basketball.
And
they're still shooting into milk cartons or milk crates.
Peach baskets.
Peach basket, that's what
right? The old Naismith saying from back in the day.
Fluffy white nets back when it was just chains hanging.
Yeah, just went.
We didn't have
any. So here's the bonus question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I got a bonus question because why not? I was looking at this statistic and I was like, okay, I saw the list. Bonus question: how many franchises have had a team start at least 11-0? How many different franchises? You know the Celtics. That's one. You mentioned the Lakers, by the way, right? And I'm going to give you that freebie. It was the 97-98 Lakers that started 11-0. It was not Showtime in the 80s
either.
Correct.
Yeah.
So those two franchises.
Have.
Okay. Well, they were 24-0. We talked about that. So there's three.
Right.
You've got three of them. So how many? I just need the number. You don't have to name them all.
There was a team that started 15-0 at one point, but I can't remember who they were. I just remember seeing like a thing about it. I'm gonna guess 8 franchises.
So close. It's 10.
That wasn't that close. And
8?
Only 32. That's off. That's a big margin.
10. Well, all right. I thought it was pretty good in the scheme of things. So the 93-94 Houston Rockets were 15-0.
Ooh, see, 50. There it was.
As were the 48-49 Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I probably was not talking about the 48-49 one.
I was going to give you credit. You shouldn't have said anything. I was going to give you credit. The 02-03 Dallas Mavericks were 14-0, along with the Celtics from 57-58. The 96-97 Bulls were 12-0. The 82-83 Supersonics were 12-0. The 97-98 Atlanta Hawks 11-0. The 97-98 Lakers 11-0. The 90-91 Portland Trailblazers are the other team on this list at 11-0. There you go.
Not bad.
So there's your trivia for the day. Nobody did it this year, so it doesn't really matter. But 24-0, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, come on, you're almost halfway through the season. At that point, right. I think that's just ridiculous. But anyway, that is all we have for today. So I feel like it was a great show, and so I thought I would pull this image up because I think everyone deserves a high five.
Still
right?
one of the most savage things. The ref's not.
He's smiling, but look at it. He is smiling. That referee is smiling. He's like, I can't.
He's like, Tom, I can't. Wait till we get back behind.
I can't do right. I can't do that out here in public. So we next week, February 3rd, Super Bowl preview show. And
like that.
And that's all we got. That's all I've got on the schedule. So make room.
We're on sports here soon again.
Make room for. I know sports are going to go away, and then we're going to be left covering cricket.
They just announced the beginning of baseball. April 3rd.
Yeah, that's a long way.
We'll have that to talk about, and then Korean baseball is going to come back at some point. It's going to be big.
Yeah, about the same time. Yeah, Korean baseball. We'll do that again if we need to. We got to fill in with what we got to fill in. But in the meantime, there'll be NBA, NHL, college basketball. We can talk about all that. And whatever, then we might be able to start with our lists, our best Lamm lists that we're talking about starting. We might be able to come up with some, top 10 lists. We might be able to come up with some what if comparison. We did that last year where we had the championships of the NFL. You know what I mean? All-time championships. Might have to find some other ways to make life exciting. So, you know what? We're pretty creative people. We'll come up with something. Anyway. Again, we are live streaming on YouTube every weekend. Well, the weekend. I said weekend. Let's see how old my copy is on my paper. We've been running Wednesdays the last 3 weeks.
Where's that secretary?
I know, right? I don't pay my people. So every Wednesday, let's just say it right now. We're pretty much have found our niche on Wednesday nights.
It's starting to work out, yeah.
Yeah. So we're on Twitter at Lamm Sports. On Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can email us lammsports@gmail.com. And by all means, please go check out our webpage, which is lammsports.com. If I can get it to come up, because every time I try and do this, it doesn't like me. But there it is. So there it is. There's our webpage, Best Lamm Sports Show. And you can always come on here. And the trivia question from last week is on here if you look at it. And down here you can find links to all the shows. There's Wednesday's show, the previous Wednesday's show. Click on it. Takes you right to YouTube. You can watch last week's episode if you missed it. Or whatever episode if you missed it. I think all of them are on here since, I don't know, like episode 16 or something. So anyway, and if you know what?
Soon here we'll hit like 500 episodes.
And you know what? Yeah, it's right around the corner. And if you need an episode, if there's episodes you haven't heard, older episodes, you want to hear the pilot episode, email us. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link. Not a problem. It's public domain at this point. I'll let anybody listen to it because that's what I do. Anyway, want to thank our sponsors. Hold on. You got anything left to say? One more thing. You got a final note? You, Parker? I lost him. So I gotta find him now. Hold on.
Yep. There I am.
Oh, there you are. You got anything to say?
There I am. I'm back now. Sorry. Yep. Nope. Just wash your hands.
Wash your hands. It wouldn't be one of our shows without a technical difficulty. So
what's new?
There's that. Okay, so thank our sponsors, the Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, Stapleton, Wine Estates, and Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. Thanks for listening, and we'll